fan-fucking-antastic.
Especially fan-fucking, I guess.
Our next giveaway is... Oh, dear.
A pearl necklace!
Just for you!
Just for you, you wonderful person listening to us.
Call in now. And we won't give it to you, so...
Psych! No, but hey, and welcome to the Dead Red Herring. The place where we... Well, go off track and beat dead horses.
Yes, and give out pearl necklaces to dead horses.
No.
No!
Stop it.
No.
Get some help.
No, and no. There is no help.
But you know what did need help?
What did need help?
Segue. The new Sonic movie.
Yes, it did. It.
Did you see the trailer?
I saw the trailer and I saw the fan reaction, so to speak.
Yeah, it was quite visceral.
And I kind of agree. It was kind of atrocious.
Yeah.
He looked atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you have the creative freedom and everything when someone makes a movie.
Yeah, fuck you and your creative freedom. This is what you get.
But that doesn't mean it's a good thing. We've seen it before.
Exactly.
I guess we'll see it again.
Yeah.
But the difference here is that I think it was the director of the movie, he actually responded to the critique. And they are going to make changes.
Good.
Yeah, that is good. You see, this is the way you interact with people, with potential fans, or people that enjoy the things that you take inspiration from.
Yeah.
In this case, the game's Sonic.
Sonic
the Hedgehog. And I'm actually, whenever I'm talking about Sonic, I always think about the 16-bit games. The original things.
Yeah, of course.
Because I was never into the modern games.
Exactly. I've only followed like Sonic 1 and 2 and whatever for this 16-bit, and
I've actually cleared the first, but I did have to cheat. Mind you, this is when I was quite young.
Oh,
it was a hollow victory. Yada. No, the reason was that the water level. I fucking hate that fucking water level. I got to Robotnik a couple of times, but I died, and I had to do it all over again until the point that no.
Fuck this.
Yeah. So I used a cheat code to pass that level, and then I actually completed the game. I haven't... Yeah. I still haven't collected all of the Chaos Gems. So.
Yeah, that is actually what they're called. I kind of forgot that for a second. I'm like, Chaos Gem, what the what the fuck? But yeah, that is what they call.
Okay, how many are there? Are there
10 of them, I think?
No, not that many. I think there's 7 of them, maybe.
Fucked if I know.
And they're of the color of the rainbow. Now, take that as you will.
Don't say that to people nowadays. You don't know how they will take that as they will.
Offended, of course.
Pregnant Sonic, I give you that one.
No.
Bad.
Go back to Tumblr.
No.
And rumors in that Tumblr might actually be bought by Pornhub.
Yeah. Gather the degenerates again. Hooray!
The degenerate refugees that's been spread across the entire interwebs.
The degenerate refugees, or the deranged refugees, or
whatever you
want to call them.
Get them back to Tumblr.
Get them back, we'll be good.
But isn't it ironic that Pornhub, and I think it was some other hentai site, Faku or whatever it's called.
You're a Faku.
No, but these two are actually rumored to be having the idea, at least, to get Tumblr and get it back up and running again, and allowing for the not safe for work content.
Yeah.
But just imagine Pornhub running the site, which has been the most obnoxious, toxic growing place for our, well, less enthusiastic regressives.
Yeah, yes.
And now, Pornhub's gonna run the place. I also have to say I love the irony of this.
I'm not saying we're gonna murder fuck a chaos god into existence, but prepare for the worst, people.
Have you heard about the Eldar? If you haven't, I think it's time.
Yeah, kinda.
But you know, it's all part of creation, I guess.
Yes, I suppose. Oh, fuck you, that segue.
What?
Oh, I thought we were gonna continue to talk about our creations, but anyways, yeah.
What?
I thought we were gonna segue. Sorry. All part of creation, I suppose. Yeah. All right.
Well, what else would it be?
I just think about today's subject, and I thought that segue was.
What? Speaking about creations,
we have made our own creations of the role-playing kind. Yeah, like I said.
Well, take it as you want. Be offended. It's not my problem.
I'm not offended.
I see you're offended. I see it in your eyes.
I'll bite your face off, bitch. Yeah, but yeah. But we're getting to that subject later.
Actually, there is one more thing that we need to. We have to mention that we have lost a dear person to us all.
Yeah, we have.
Chewbacca is roaring with Carrie Fisher.
Yes,
our dear princess. Because
Peter Mayhew.
Yeah, he has passed away.
Yeah.
Sadly enough.
That is very sad, actually. And I'm very shocked because he passed away I think it was the 30th of April. So it was a couple of days ago, but I didn't find out until today.
Yeah, me neither.
And I was distraught. I was like, why haven't I heard of this?
Yeah, it's been really quiet.
Why wasn't I informed?
Yeah, I haven't really looked into anything of it. I've just seen the headlines and so.
Yeah.
And there was a small piece of it on the news today, so. Well, it's sad, but things are the way they are, I guess.
Yeah.
So now, you can make your own segue.
Yeah, speaking of murder fucking chaos got into existence, we have created some of our own.
Some murder fucking of our own.
Yes, exactly. We'll send a snuff video later, but we will send a link to the dark web. Anyways!
Yeah, yoke yourself out of this one.
I can't. We're both in this one together now.
Oh, hey, don't be dragging me
Help
down.
Me!
No! Sure, I'll give you a basket. It has lotion in it.
Yay. It's dark in here. I think it's dark in here.
It's full of dark humor.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've actually... To give a sort of a backstory, maybe. Both of us are quite the nerds, if that isn't really apparent by this point.
Nerds!
I mean, sure, if you're new here, this might actually be valid information. If you've been here before, I guess you could have guessed that.
Yeah, but we're gonna mention it again.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a test.
Write that down.
All right, write that down.
And part of the interest for us both is the old school tabletop role-playing games.
Yes. The dice and pen paper.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned.
And I've been a part of that hobby, if I could say that.
Yeah, I'd say it's a hobby.
Yeah. I've been having that as a hobby for at least 16 years now. So I'm sort of old in the game.
Quite long.
And most of my time had actually been the
dungeon master,
yes,
or the game
DM,
master.
the GM, the master.
The game master. The game master.
You're a game master.
Gay lord, I prefer.
Always prancing around. Giddy as fuck.
Please, call me Flaming. Flaming gay lord, at your service.
And, well, at least in my case, and for you now, later on,
Yep.
it has led to creating our own settings, and at least for me, it's been a lot of creating own rules, game mechanics, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's. I have been some, or I must say, we have been some doing creation of our own in my game also, but it's not as much rule making as it's with you. It's sort of a simpler version, so to speak. But but I guess the reason why we have done it is because I wouldn't say the lack of, but I guess it's the old saying, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. Because if you want something your way, well, why don't you go make your own? Well, fine, I will.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And in your case, it's a lot of superheroes.
Exactly. I was and still, even in this day and age, very much a fan of the superhero trope and the comics, the movies, and all that.
The genre.
The genre, yeah, exactly. And it has made me take a lot of inspiration. Sometimes even shamefully copied some cases, but
oh my! But to be fair, I mean, it's kind of hard to be.
It's very hard
really
to be
original in these territories.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the two giants, the two titans that is Marvel and DC, they copied each other for, I was going to say centuries, but decades.
Yeah.
For centuries they have copied. No, but they have copied each other and taken a lot of inspiration for others, and it's been all in all an inspiration incest fest, so to speak.
More or less, yeah.
So I see no shame in taking some inspiration of my own, and they're creating some of my own also.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I suppose the reason also why I'm doing this is because I have a dream that someday I might even make this into an electronic game. Someday, I hope. It is a dream, but so for that reason, we sort of, let's try it out in roleplay form.
Yeah, that was actually after I've been on your back for about, I don't know how long it took before you actually considered the idea.
Yeah, it was like, oh, how the fuck do we do this then? And so, yeah.
And the reason is that, the reason to why I actually got on your back and pushed you into making it into a role-playing game for like testing stuff is because I know that this is one of the things they did with Fallout 2 at least.
That's true.
And actually one of the adventures that they played while working on Fallout 2 was a game that later on became New Vegas.
Ah, I see.
There were some changes done and so, but they actually had that in a tabletop game form from start.
That's cool.
So, and in my opinion, just having it as a tabletop game, it allows you to explore the world, explore the setting, see what works, what doesn't work, and if you're gonna have mechanics, it's also quite an interesting way of looking at mechanics.
That's true, and it's also a very good way to dynamically create the world as you go with your players.
Yeah, you fill it with stories.
Yeah.
You get lore by actually playing.
Free lore.
And for me, I have my interest within the different genres and so it's all over the place.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for the space opera theme, the cyberpunk theme, punk themes
in general
is actually something I quite enjoy. I was heavy into fantasy earlier, but nowadays, I don't know. I've kind of lost interest in it because it's sort of stagnated, in my opinion. It's more or less just the same all the way around, even though there are some small variations. It feels like there's not much you can do at this point.
No, I mean, I was going to say it's an oversaturated market, but like you said, it's more of a stagnated market. I mean, everything is in the risk zone becoming a D&D clone. in that case.
That's one way.
That depends on how you do it, of course, but
yeah, it's not only games. I mean, it's the tropes within the genre. It's been done so many times, and I mean, you can always have more variations. You can always find some special niche.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I still enjoy the genre all over like that. I mean, having a fantasy adventure, especially a high fantasy, it allows for some fun times.
Well, all these times we have played Eon.
Yeah, Eon. It's a Swedish role-playing game that it has a fantasy setting, a medieval setting, you could say.
Yeah.
But it sort of goes on the line of introducing more realism, even though you have the classical fantasy elements like elves and dwarves and not really orcs. They're called Tirak. But it's the
it's an orc.
Yeah, orc troll combo things.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there are trolls as a race, but they're not really playable. And there are 3 different forms. There are forest trolls, cave trolls, and mountain trolls, I think they are. And the forest trolls, they're actually kind of peaceful. Big, lumbering...
passive.
Well, yeah, and magic users.
Huh, cool.
Mountain trolls are more of the... Imagine a barbarian that's just... bigger and meaner. And then you have the cave trolls. Those are evil bastards.
Evil fuckers, aren't they?
And funny enough about the cave trolls, they actually have a mating period. At which point, the male trolls will actually hump anything with a hole. That's actually in the books.
Fuck.
And also their favorite snack is dwarf.
I feel targeted.
Yeah, you usually play dwarf.
Yeah, I like playing dwarf. It goes into my persona.
Yeah.
No, but
of course, there is magic in this world as well. But there's a lot of inspiration of old civilizations.
Yeah,
you have sort of the Middle Eastern, the Persian, and the Babylonian civilizations taking inspiration. You have the Roman and Greek. You have the medieval European.
Yeah. Both
the more English, and you have the more French and Holy Roman Empire. It spans a lot of, at least in our view, a greater timeline, and mixes them into one world. But it's fun because, well, as in any role-playing games, you can do a lot of weird, funny stuff.
Yes, you can.
And for me, I've been playing a lot of Eon. I've been playing a lot of World of Darkness. I do not like Masquerade because, in my opinion, that is a broken game. That is... It's just...
retcon piece of shit.
Yeah, well, it's better fitting in the tabletop way with the Mind's Eye Theater system and everything, but it's still... It feels like it's just kind of power gaming for emos.
If it had more edge, it would be a razor.
Yeah, sort of. But when it comes to World of Darkness, I actually do enjoy the new World of Darkness. The changed version of the game. Because
the retcon not piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say retcon, because the new World of Darkness, they did make changes to the system, even though they have the base still left, but they changed the world and made it a whole lot more open, which allows you to have more interactions, I'd say.
Flavor.
Yeah. And using the World of Darkness system, the die pool system and all.
Yeah.
I've been using that for one-shot games, which was the first game I actually played with you.
Yes.
It was a World War II special forces kind of game where you had to infiltrate some sort of...
Well, it was a German castle.
A German castle that was converted into a Nazi science
occult laboratory.
Yeah, and you found it to be occult and stuff like that. Well, that was quite funny.
That was very fun.
And even though there is some seriousness in the setting, there were a lot of room for the more silly stuff.
The goofiness. Yeah. And sometimes it was intentional, but a lot of times it wasn't.
No.
I mean, that was the best comedic thing. It was the unintentional. Like, for instance, a whole source of laughter was the 2-meter high Scottish giant called Angus, who didn't have anything in sort of acrobatics or...
he had a low athletics score.
Exactly. So when
which is interesting for being a special operator.
Exactly. So when everyone was spending their time climbing up a mountain wall, Angus was just standing there jumping with the rope and wondering, what the fuck do I do? And later, when we all took turns running over a road, taking cover from Germans.
Actually, you were running across a field, open field first.
Yeah.
To avoid a patrol.
Yes. And then we got... everyone was to cast their athletics.
Yeah, roll for athletics.
Yeah, roll for athletics. And...
you failed?
Yep.
And failed?
I failed, I get up. And I failed, and I get up. And I failed again. So basically what happened was... Angus was sort of doing the disco worm all over the road.
Yeah. And long story short, you all fuck it up. You burn down the village in the valley. You set fire to the
and that
castle,
was not me.
And you...
I didn't set fire to anything.
No.
That was my fiance.
and the thing you were there to get, you burned to get away.
I think we threw it at the big monster,
Yeah, you threw it at the pursuing monster so it would leave you be. Well done. Well done indeed.
Thank you. Mission, yes.
Yes.
Was it a mission a success?
Well, depending on how you look at things.
How do you define success?
Not like this.
Oh, then no.
Yeah. But, so, using the new World of Darkness system for one-shots, that's sort of a standard for me. Or has been, at least. But then, later on, I started working on my own system, my own mechanics, and I actually made at this point, it is a SteamPunk setting, but it's actually... It goes over periods.
Yeah.
And the earliest period is more or less just ships and boats with balloons. And a middle period, it's going to be more actually built airships.
Yeah.
Not only converted seafaring ships.
I strapped a balloon to this fucker.
Yeah. And the later period is going to have a lot of elements from World War I and more or less early diesel punk.
I like that. I like diesel punk.
Yeah, me too. That is actually a genre that hasn't been explored that much.
No, exactly. And I think that's
a shame.
That's a very shame.
Because I can only think of two things just out of the top of my head. It's Rocket Man.
Yep.
The comic, and there was a movie adaptation. It wasn't really that.
Yeah, it was
entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
But it's it's something you just put on and have in the background.
It had Timothy Dalton as a villain. I think that's a big achievement.
And the other thing is Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that one.
And that is sort of a mix between diesel and retrofuturism.
Yeah, it is.
With the ray guns and
and
giant robots.
Exactly.
That is a fun period. I'm thinking of adapting that sort of period into in the historical sense, in my superhero. But yeah, with the diesel punk and all that. That's
And
I'm
it's
thinking
not
also
really
to-
diesel punk like that. It's more like the World War One era.
never stopped.
Yeah, it's sort of, because it's not like it's set in stone, a lot of the stuff, but the general idea I have for it is to have these different periods.
Yeah.
And because the name of my game
the
at
name
this
of the
point
game is
Weird Century, because of, well,
it spans over a century.
yeah, and you should have all the possibilities to actually have the different settings within the game.
And I like that because it gives the element of choice.
Yeah, you can do a generation play.
Yeah. And I have ideas. By God, I have ideas for generation play.
That doesn't sound good.
Oh, it is. Believe me, Sonny.
I don't want to have diapers. No, that's age play. Sorry. My bad.
Oh, God.
That is some degeneracy right there.
That is degeneracy.
What else can I say? Okay. I actually did a poll.
Yep.
On Twitter. Asking people what they thought would actually be more interesting to have a steampunk setting or steampunk world that is more, I'm about to say realistic, but realistic versus a world with fantasy elements.
If you want to put it like that, a high steampunk or a low steampunk, if you want to be like that.
No, not really that. It's more like only humans or fantasy races.
Oh, okay.
Because
I would say high fantasy steampunk or low fantasy steampunk.
Well, okay. If you add fantasy to it,
yeah, okay,
sure,
fair
okay.
enough. Yes,
but the majority vote, I think the total voter count was 4 or something. They want
you 4 people.
yeah, engagement. They actually want to have the fantasy element.
Awesome.
So I did have some ideas already, because I'm already thinking of having one, so to say, low fantasy version and one high fantasy version.
Yeah.
But when it comes to implementing the fantasy races, I am thinking of having the usual suspects.
Well,
humans, dwarves, elves, orcs. And then I'm gonna have halflings and trolls.
what about goblins?
Well, if you want to have goblins, sure, but they're gonna be midgets.
Yes, they will.
And by saying midgets, here's the thing. We had a in-joke.
Well, sort of existing midgets in your world, but yeah.
Okay, it's not little people midgets, these.
Imagine pygmies.
Yeah. What movie is that? It's actually Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that's right.
You have these sort of pygmy thingies running around in the grass.
No, the Mummy.
That's the Mummy, right?
The second Mummy movie.
Yeah, that's right. It's I stand corrected. But in this movie, anyways, there are these tiny pygmies running around being really mean and angry. And it's sort of like that.
Yes.
And they actually have a very specific sound.
Yes. Go ahead. Exactly.
And
I mean, imagine a little fucker just standing there,
really angry,
fist in the air.
And the reason I don't really, I think the way we came up with them was that we had a joke about a manservant called Wilkins.
Yes.
He's like this proper
British
butler person that he's always there for his master. Did we have a name for the master?
Oh,
I think we did, but I don't remember it.
It is lost in history. But
yeah, but the joke was that you had the Wilkins always ready, always this stoic, right away, sir.
Like through thick and thin, whatever his master has ideas for him, it is just yes.
And his master is this kind of typical British aristocrat buffoon.
Yes.
Always calling upon Wilkins to do random stuff.
Fetch the tea, Wilkins. Right away, sir.
And this bastard actually has a midget.
Several, I would say.
Okay, yeah, he has several midgets in his mansion. And I think, was Wilkins actually able to...
They bite him a lot, but yeah, he was
he was able
accepted.
to control them.
Yeah.
So it could be like from nowhere, Wilkins, bring forth the midgets!
Bring forth the battle midgets! I want to be entertained!
Sort of. And we came to the point that the reason that Wilkins actually has this stoic thing is because he's more or less dead inside. You can see him in his small servant's quarter at night, sitting on the bed, looking at a picture of the Queen, of course.
Yes.
Be strong.
Be strong, Wilkins. Be strong for the Queen. For Queen and country.
Just imagine him like a veteran from the Zulu Wars or something like that. And now he's stuck in a small servant's quarter with a buffoon of an employer.
But he wouldn't dream of crossing his master. No.
And then he has to do battle with these midgets all the time. And from this joke, it actually came to be that I had these midgets in my SteamPunk world, which also connects to one of Magnus' characters.
Yes.
The good old captain.
Yes, the captain. Captain...
Ramsbottom, I think.
Rainsbottom Pitkin...
the third.
The third. It is a fucking British name.
He is a captain.
Yes, and let's just say his main motto is you can't spell dishonorable discharge without honorable.
Yeah. Old military.
Captain.
Reason he was dishonorably discharged was because he crashed his ship.
Yeah.
And I actually think he abandoned his ship.
Abandoned the crew and crashed the ship,
Yeah.
I believe. And it involved these little violent fuckers.
But I don't think we actually really explored the details of the crash more that it involved midgets and your captain doing a Indiana Jones.
Exactly. Imagine the first scene in Indiana Jones.
In Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Exactly.
When he's running away from the natives.
Start the plane! Start the plane!
Start the ship! Start the ship! And instead of the natives, it's these little midget fuckers running after him.
Like chucking spears, blowing darts.
So I actually have it when we were playing that I made him hear these midget sounds from time to time just to make him spooked.
He has sort of, the post-traumatic from these little things. And speaking of the generation play, I'm thinking of making the later version of the captain, like this paranoid old man who keep hearing these goddamn things everywhere.
Sitting by the door.
Yeah, sitting by the door. And just doing airship tours of the capital city.
Yeah.
Just this old bearded captain. I used to be a captain, you know. Who had a son with a drunken pirate.
Yeah, which is your
Funnily enough, my fiance's character. So I'm thinking of making a son who is basically this bumbling buffoon of the captain, but imagine alcoholism also.
Well, he's supposed to be British, so...
Yeah.
So aren't all Brits sort of...
closet alcoholics? Buffoonish closet alcoholic. So yeah.
There is something with countries and alcohol. I don't get it.
Oh yeah. But this is a perfect example of dynamically creating lore as we go.
Yeah. And the thing is that I take heavy inspiration of things like The New World.
Yeah.
And the Age of Colonialism.
Yeah, with that said...
The Age of Empires.
Yeah, exactly. And with that said, you do have a little bit of... what do you call it? Cattle punk, I think.
Yeah, there is one part of the world that actually do get into the more Weird West and cattle punks style.
Yeah.
And that is actually intentional because that's also a sort of genre I really love. It's both the classic Western,
Yeah.
but also the punk version of Western and the sci-fi Western.
Yeah. Imagine mixing in the steampunk with Western. Fantastic.
Yeah. And that is weird Western.
Well.
Duh.
Well,
But I guess I could just go on ramble about this, but
Well,
I'm just not sure what more to say. I guess
well, we got
if you want to hear
time.
more about it, you just tell me. And
You should buy our book.
but okay, I can say this, that there is actually quite a lot of lore that is unknown and meant to be unknown to the players, because
Yeah.
it sort of should add this mystery aspect.
Yeah.
Because there has been earlier civilizations, and it, now that I think about it, it actually reminds me of how in Oblivion,
Yeah.
and actually all of the Elder Scrolls game, you run around and you find these ruins, and you can go down and explore them and
The
find
Dwemer ruins and all
exactly
that.
sort of like that. And these like archaeological places and stuff exist within my world as well. Not as it is in the Elder Scroll game, but there are a lot of unknown aspects to it, and the modern scholars they have their interpretation, more or less like we have our interpretations of, I don't know, Babylonia and the
Yeah.
ancient Greeks and such.
The ancient world.
Yeah, but the thing is that there exists magic in the world,
Mhm.
and it is actually, I'm basing it on sort of the what we can say the occult traditions, that it's involving gestures, symbols, words of power, and you need to know these things to be able to use magic in what is called magic, at least. But it's actually more of esoteric occultism. And you have, of course, that has sort of a Lovecraftian element to it, because it deals a lot with what is beyond the veil of perception and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have the technological things. And what makes technology amazing in my world is a blue glowing crystal that is called trinitum. And this mineral can enhance, transform, and make the most unbelievable things believable. Like, you can have airships, you can have ultralight but extremely durable alloys and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But there is a backside to this mineral.
Radiation. Oh.
Actually, sort of.
Yeah.
Because as much of a enhancement or impact change it has upon immaterial elements, it also has on, well, biological things.
Yeah.
So there is something that is called the trinitum disease, which is that people get overexposed to this element in its pure form, and they actually turn sick. And this will send them into a fever, and if they do not survive, they are actually changed into something else. I don't want to say zombie, but they turn into quote unquote monsters.
Yeah. Mutation.
Yeah. Mutants.
Mutant scum.
But if you actually do survive this, you might actually, you will still be changed in some way, but it might actually give you gifts, so to say.
Enhancement.
Yeah. But it could come with a cost as well. It's like, you could have someone get ill and they go through a change which makes them, imagine a Hulk kind of body. So they get really big and strong, but they have marks after the disease. And everyone who has contracted this disease and actually survived has a certain glow to their eyes to show it. And in my way of making mutants, you could say, is the result of surviving this disease.
Yeah.
But I've actually have a mechanic for player characters to see if they survive or not. And it involves quite a lot of die rolls, and it's about constitution.
Yep.
Or stamina. I'm not sure. I write this in Swedish, so it's kind of hard to just directly
Damn you, English.
to translate it just off my head like this. But yeah.
Yeah.
So you can get either physical changes or mental changes, which involves, well, it's open for whatever thing you want to have.
Telekinesis, but voices.
Yeah. Well, you could get direnchments as well. That's actually a good thing. I should write that down.
Write that down.
Write that down. And when I started making this game, I actually were thinking of using classes. I still have this left, sort of, because I was thinking that you would have a class which gave you certain skills, and it might actually give you a focus ability. And I actually have focus as a attribute.
Right.
And this is actually, within the game, it's thought that a person can actually, by using focus, get really centered on either completing a task or doing something.
You can get a bonus in your role, so
to
speak.
Doing something amazing. Like, I as a player, purely mechanical, I say that I use 1 point of focus to get an extra die to be able to do this. Or if you have a certain ability, like, for example, you have the sharpshooter persona, and the ability that makes you able to imagine, like, Deadeye in Red Dead Redemption, or
doing such a dead shot.
Shots or the impossible shots. I'm not sure where I could, what likeness I can go with that. It's like, think of
Turn the bullet or something.
Yeah,
in that movie,
like
whatever the fuck it's called.
Like Hawkeye or Bullseye. Even
I
think Bullseye was actually the better likeness, because he looks he has a target, but he shoots like to the side. It makes a bullet ricochet off 3 or 4 different points and then headshot. Yeah. That is some kind of ability, but you need to have focus to use these. Yeah. And there are different kinds of abilities that you can learn or that you can develop and stuff like that. I mean, I'm still working on the game, but yeah. I guess you get the gist of it.
Yeah. Heavy on the development.
Yeah. We actually need to play more.
Yes, we do, actually. We need to develop this fucker. Yeah, and I would like to say the same to me also. But it's just that, find time.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Well, I guess we can find time. It's just we need to do it.
That's
just do
it.
But that is actually the thing I like with creating my own stuff, because it actually opens up for me to be able to explore ideas and concepts that might actually otherwise be hard to do. Because when it comes to playing games, at least tabletop games, I'm not really a big fan of playing in quote unquote our world, in the real world.
Nah, I kind of boring.
Yeah, but because even going in historical eras, it's always, there are so many aspects to take into account.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you want to play a pirate game. Okay, what was it like in setting in the Caribbean? So, what was it like in the Caribbean? What were the current state of affairs for this year? Who were the main player?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we do know that it was France, Britain, Spain, and the Dutch.
Yeah.
Those were the main players. But who had the upper hand and stuff like that? And even if you, like, just take that out of the picture, there are still so many aspects, in my opinion at least, if you want to make it historical, that you have to think about. So you can't really have a person suddenly invent a advanced thing, or
I have a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, in 1680s? What the? and stuff like that. And that is why I like the punk aspect of things.
Yeah.
And just have these variations. I can do a play based in our world if there is a twist to it. Like, for instance, in World of Darkness.
Yeah.
And stuff like this.
Yeah.
Or even in future settings. As long as there can be this, that you can break the timeline, let's say.
Yeah. And I would say I try to do that with my work, because, to be fair, it is kind of set in this modern era, but
Leif GW, sådär
Leif
bara.
GW, suddenly. But yeah, the how you can get, not necessarily get away, but how you can, with the possibility of having these technological marvels, I would say, because in my world, in your world, we have, it is modern era, but with the, I was gonna say, not distant future, but near future, because you have the possibilities of technological marvels, because they are technology. I mean, we have like gadgeteers and all that, people who tinker and make these like their own suits or gadgets or vehicles or whatever.
The typical superhero aspects of, at least as we see it today.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine your Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, whatever. Fuck you. So yeah, you have the.
I actually do a Constantine.
Yes, exactly. Because in this world, I am sort of all over the goddamn place with this. I am a spiderweb of inspiration.
You are the spiderweb.
I am.
You're not the spider. You are the spiderweb.
Exactly. I am all over the fucking place. Because we have technology, but like in yours, we have magic. We have we sort of a monastery of magic,
magical monks,
but
not in the
not the Tibetan
Eastern traditions.
No, exactly. And I know a lot of people is gonna write, "This is so Doctor Strange."
Well, yes.
But like I said, I take inspiration from like Doctor Strange, but also like you said, from Constantine.
Yeah,
in the DC version, and this sort of hidden world of magic inside our technological marvelous world.
And then you have the technomages. Goddamn technomages!
You are heretical scum, but fun.
Yeah,
but so yeah, like you have the technomancers, really.
Yeah,
the other side of the spectrum of the technomages, like. I make machines and enhance them with magic, but I can control machines with magic, like, or all that. So, I mean, you have that all. But while I'm on the subject, I have these kind of different kinds of backstories, I would say, for the characters. We have the taught people, which is basically your average mage, or you have your, your tinkerer. You have learned your ability.
Yeah.
And then you have the people who are born with their ability.
Like mutants,
but not. They're called freaks.
Well, because they are.
Yes, society views them as freaks.
Goddamn right.
Yes, goddamn right too. So yeah, but people can yell and scream mutants all they want, but yeah, fuck you. And then you have the other two, which is basically you have gained your ability through an accident. Like, for instance, I am in a lab full of lizards and biological warfare, and I'm poking around, and suddenly it all went kaboom, and now I'm a biological warfare lizard.
There's a lab full of lizards. And weird chemicals, and you go around poking the lizards, and they suddenly explode.
No, poking the chemicals.
Why would you poke the chemicals?
I don't know, you're stupid.
Then why are you in a lab?
Internship.
This is Billy. He's not the brightest, but he's the boss's son. I'll take care of him.
I am smart.
Ooh, lizard.
Ooh, tiny lizard. Ooh, liquid. Boom. And then he's like a reptilian, all that. Like you spews acid and because of the warfare and all that.
And all that.
And then you have the last one. You have gained it
You had it trained, the taught, the accident.
I'm thinking
born.
Yeah, I'm thinking the English word for it. You have gotten them deliberately. For instance, you have lied on an altar and like, give me super strength magic, and a lot of monks have performed rituals and made you super strong. Yes.
I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah, fuck you.
Laying on an altar surrounded by mummies.
Mummies? Ooh. I said monks.
No, I said mummies.
Fuck it, mummies then.
Just imagine how cool wouldn't that be that you actually found
cool.
You find a ritual in an old book that raises some old priest that has been mummified.
Yeah.
And you put yourself on an altar and they bring forth some ancient power that fills you up and suddenly you can
fucking write it down. Fucking write that down.
Yes. Well, you can do X.
Yeah.
You gain a power.
Exactly.
You gain the favor of some dark god, but it comes at a price.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now you have to eat babies.
Yes.
You are
Groknar, the super strong baby eater. See, now we even have a name for it.
Grognar. Well, that could fit in a fantasy setting. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a barbarian that's like
I eat babies.
Barbarian kicks in the door to some ancient underground temple, and there are these mummies standing around just waiting for someone to find.
You will suffice.
Yeah, either they offer him or they find him worthy to be the vessel of this dark god that they worship.
Exactly.
God, this is amazing.
Awesome. We need to write this down.
Ragnar, the baby eater.
The baby eating Hulk. But yeah, the deliberate, like, or for instance, in the other end, like in a technological sense, like we have but we have.
You can make some sort of a cyborg-esque character.
Exactly.
Not really a mother box
but
thingy, dark side stuff, but there could be some weird sort of technology that.
Well, imagine Captain America, really.
Okay.
Lie down in the. Lie
Please.
down in his smoking box and we will inject you with
step
steroids.
into this vat.
And we will inject you with steroids.
We're gonna inject you with nanites and see what happens.
Okay.
Do I get paid?
Sure.
Yeah, you will.
Close it.
Push the button.
So you have these 5 different kinds of backstories.
Yeah.
And you were sort of in there on Dark Gods, and yeah, in that sense, there sort of exist these
interdimensional beings,
or IDBs, as the service likes to call them.
Whoops,
which stands for World Hazards and Occult Organizations. Fuck, what's it named? I know. Wait, fuck, I know this.
What's the P?
Yeah, exactly.
Protection.
No, I changed it for People's Strike Force to
something.
Yeah. Oh shit, this is embarrassing.
You'll get it.
Yeah, I'll get it soon.
But while on sort of the subject with the different world and stuff like that, one thing that I actually really want when it comes to my game, in my setting at least,
Paranormal Strike Force.
There we go. So world. Go from the top. Whoops.
Yeah. World Hazards and Occult Organizations Paranormal Strike Force. Or whoops.
There we go.
Register, arrest, and neutralize.
But one of the main aspects for why I don't like really have the setting in our world is because if I do my own, I can have my own sort of politics.
Yeah. That's true.
And when it comes to my game and my setting, I want people to take what was more as the inspiration for how the world looks.
Yeah.
And not being sort of having to think that, oh, we need to pay not pay. We need to look at history through the lens of meh. Instead it could be like, okay, what was it like in these times? Let's just have that.
Yeah.
And not thinking too much about it. But looking at it like this, the late 1800s, you had the rise of a whole lot of political
factions
and conflicts.
Yeah.
You had the old empires, you had the socialists rising up. You had a lot of anarchists and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you don't need to make more of it than just having the core concepts of the ideologies. You do not need to have what is thought of it today to apply to it. And just the thing is that to have a experience that is set in a sort of world that is this mid to late 1800s, early 1900s, but without our world politics. So you don't need to have certain factions going certain ways. You don't need to have empires building as they were necessarily.
I don't need to spit on this black person.
Exactly. Or you can go full blown with all the negative aspects like racism and colonialism and stuff like that. Now,
do that. That's more fun, I'd say.
Yeah, but because it shouldn't be about the politics.
Nah.
It should be about having fun in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's also a good thing because you don't need to even have these in it. You can just say, fuck all with that. I don't care. The world looks like this. Nothing more.
Yeah.
But my adventure is to take place in this area of the world. It has more of a weird West setting to it, and we go fuck all with the politics. We don't care.
It's the frontier.
Yeah.
Politics hasn't arrived yet.
Or you could have an adventure set in the one of the old empires and have a political intrigue game. And let's say there is a anarchist group that wants to blow up the monarch.
Assassinated an emperor, I don't know.
Yeah, and then you have the concept of the anarchists going against the monarchy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be any more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
No values or anything. Of course, you do you.
Yeah.
That's one of the core principles I have when it comes to gaming, tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
You have your world the way you want it to be. You don't go tell anyone else how they should run their game, and no one else should tell you how to run your game. You do it the way you do it with your players.
Exactly. We don't mention any names here, but Pathfinder.
Exactly.
We're looking at you.
Yeah. And I just... Because for me, gaming, both in the electronic sense and in the pen and paper dice sense, it's to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's to be escapism.
Yes.
If I want to have politics, I'll go look at the news. Or go on Twitter or whatever.
Or look at something else in the nerd world.
Yeah. But of course, it could be that it could be fun to explore certain aspects of certain political ideologies. I have nothing against that. For example, I actually have a written adventure, sort of, the outlines at least, of a... it involves anarchists trying to start a revolution. And
oh shit, now you got me nervous.
And the players can either choose to join their side or actually join it's in the Hulbarian...
oh yeah, the sort of German-inspired...
yeah, exactly. The
Poitzen. The Prussian.
Yeah, the Prussian.
Prussian.
Halberisch Kaiserreich, I think it is.
Yeah.
God, I haven't been working on my game for so long, I've actually started to forget the names. But we have the Commonwealth.
Yes. Her Majesty's
Commonwealth.
Her Majesty's Royal Commonwealth.
Yeah. Led by good old Queen Linnea. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, this is what makes it fun, that I can actually do my own thing.
Yeah, make your own version of it.
Yeah.
That's more fun, really.
And then we have airships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm actually really itching to try out the more World War I setting of the game.
World conflict.
Exactly. So I'm just thinking about where and who should be in the conflict. Because I have taken inspiration, like you do with your comic heroes and such.
Yep.
I take inspiration from our history with the the British Empire, the German Empire, I have the Russian Empire, the Japanese Empire, Japanese, Chinese. I do a mix and blend there.
The Far Eastern.
Yeah, Far Eastern. Well, and actually, the Ottoman Empire.
Nice.
I have one of those.
Right.
So, desert people. Well, in my world, they actually are desert people.
Nomadic.
Well, they started out as nomadic, but then they actually started building cities within these. In the desert, there are these humongous hollow mountains, and they build cities within and upon these.
Infidels.
But when it comes to I'm still working on the different religions there, but I have a idea to have them all sort of coming from the old civilization and whatever happened to them. I might actually discuss that part of the lore at a later date to see what everyone thinks of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But since my main idea had been to just have it as humans, I had to think later on now that if I'm going to have a fantasy version, who is going to be what here? And I've concluded that the Commonwealth and the
Brits.
the Brits and the Germans, at least, they are going to be human empires. The Far Eastern, those are actually going to be elves.
Right.
And that's actually separated into, you have sort of two cultures within this. You have the high culture and the low culture. The high culture, they are, imagine like high elves, sort of.
Yeah.
Everything is like flowing, and when you speak the language, it's like it's just poetic, and you should do it, describe things in the most beautiful way you can do it.
Japanese.
And quite strict with practices and traditions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
While the low culture has the more
layman's.
Well, I don't want to say that it's lower. Well, within the empire, it's more of the common man's culture and stuff like that. But in no way is it actually any less worth, because they have their own sort of traditional way of doing things, their own administration and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And the inspiration for that is more like the ancient China. And we all know how fucking advanced the ancient Chinese were.
Yep.
So those are, so high elves and not really low elves. I'm not sure what to call them. Common elves.
Common elves. Worker elves.
I'm not sure where to put the dwarves yet. Maybe the Russian.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but maybe the orc. I'm thinking of you having the orcs not being. They're not going to be the warg. No, not the warring low IQ stuff. They are actually on par with humans.
Yeah,
but they're
racists.
But it's just their way of doing it is more
pragmatic.
Practical.
No.
Well, sort of practical. I was thinking that maybe if we imagine them having their roots in what we might call the Mongolian Empire. So started out as warriors, and then like they evolved with time. They became more and more steady, having their empire and being part of other empires, and are sought after military officials. Maybe it's just ideas I am working with.
Throwing ideas at the wall here. No idea what's gonna stick.
But I'm still not sure, as I said, where to put the dwarves.
I'm thinking maybe. I mean, your idea for them, I think, was like there were not much miners; they were more architectural.
Right, and they had their sort of dwarven fortress.
Yeah,
and they had it for generations, just building and digging, just like having their own. Really,
it's dwarven strongholds all over the place,
and seldom leaving it, because that is their thing. And they stay in place until they run out of resources, and at that point, They abandon it and move on.
Like fucking termites.
You could call them that if you want. But
bearded
also,
termites.
like they are sought after within the different empires because they're architects. They know how to build and make it great. So, I mean, whenever there's a palace or something needing to be built, hey!
Get the dwarf!
Yeah. And when it comes to trolls, I'm actually thinking of having them as sort of a crossing between orc and elves.
Yep.
And elves in this setting, they are more on the magical side. Especially the high elves. The low elves, they are more on the technical side, but orcs, they are really practical technology. So it's like on the scale. Have you ever played the game Arcanum?
Sort of.
Yeah, because you have a scale there, technology to magic. And I have this sort of scale in my head unofficially.
Make it sort of an equilibrium between them.
Yeah, exactly. So they're more attuned to magic, more attuned to technology.
Yeah.
So the combination there between orcs and elves are going to be trolls, and they will be more of they will tend to go more towards the magical aspect or side of things, but they are, how to say, it's not really, they're not outcasts, but they do have their own way of doing things, more living in attune to nature and not nomadic, but they have their own communities.
They are sort of the naturalistic sense.
Yeah, living of the land.
Yeah.
Not really building empires.
No, simple, naturalistic, romantic. Yeah.
Not really romantic. I mean, they do have their villages. They do have their communities, and it's just that they don't have the expansionist way of thinking. It's more like, okay, we've lived in this valley for generations, and we like it here. We have a connection to this place. We take care of this place and make sure that we nurture it so that we can continue living here. That kind of way.
How environmentalist friendly?
Sort of Amish.
Fantasy Amish, the trolls. I can see them having the beards, actually.
Well, no, not really. But yeah, these are just concepts I play around with for the time being.
They're fun concepts.
Yeah.
You can mix and turn a lot of different kinds.
But what about badgers?
How to turn the inside out. Here's how you do it.
I've already disclosed the secret of turning the badger inside out.
Yes, I know. So we have prepared a badger here.
I'm gonna get the gun.
You use this chaos magic. No, wait. Oh dear, there is so much to talk about in these cases.
Yes. So at this point, I'm really interested what you as a listener have been thinking about this. Is either of our ideas and concepts something you actually enjoy? It is something that might actually trigger some kind of imaginary frenzy within your mind, or tell us what's your ideas.
Would you like to play it?
Would you like to play?
Would like to play a game?
But I would actually like to hear what you guys think about our stuff, especially my stuff. Well, so would you like to actually? Do you want to know more?
Exactly.
Please tell us.
Yes, do that.
So you can always get in touch with us on Twitter. The main handle to say is @DRH Podcast. Magnus actually has his own.
Yeah, the backdoor handle is
DRH Magnus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the main culprit when it comes to
I was gonna
posting
say,
on Twitter.
I was gonna say if you want to get in touch with the Dead Red Herring podcast, you get in touch with the main handle.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm rolling.
Hi.
But you can also send an email. dead.red.herring@gmail.com. And you can find our other stuff on YouTube. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and a whole slew of other places where you find podcasts.
Exactly. And on YouTube, we
do streams.
We do live streams. We play games. Have fun. Join us.
Yeah, we kind of have a sucky connection, and that's tragic.
Yep.
So it's not the best quality, sadly enough.
It's on par with a potato at this moment, but,
but
we
hope that it'll get better in the future.
Yep.
God damn you, service provider! High-speed internets. What's that?
What's that, and why can't I afford it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Accessibility. Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
So
fuck you. That's what it is. Yeah. But
okay. No. Any last words?
Shameful inspiration is fine, and in some cases,
my life is potato.
My life is potato.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye. Looks a bit barren, don't you think?
God, I hope she is.
Oops.